to the first look seminar and Gino Bacola. Two weekends left here at the Great Race Place. And then it is Breeders' Cup time, my friend. A lot of exciting things happening here.
Yeah, 2 Fridays from today, it'll be Breeders' Cup Friday, and it'll be Halloween, so we'll have some fun down in Del Mar then. But there's plenty before the Breeders' Cup Friday and Saturday. We've got a lot of action coming up just on Saturday. We're going to dive into the late pick 5 for Santa Anita, but don't forget about those great new wagers that combine the action from Gulfstream Park in Santa Anita, the Coast to Coast pick 5, and that Sunset 6. You can get those sequences on the website, but every sequence for the Sunset 6 is the last 3 at Gulfstream and the last 3 at Santa Anita. We always love those contests, Chappie, that are free for everybody to enter too, those pick'em contests, which are great. I know there's a big qualifier at ExpressBet tomorrow too. Georgie, there's so much going on. I saw you dressed up looking in Oktoberfest gear last week too, man. I love seeing that.
I'll be with my lederhosen again Saturday and Sunday, playing all kinds of games. We got a new game, keg rolling. It is so much fun. It's a great time, and people drinking, eating, having a great time. Me, like you said, the Sunset 6, that new bet, I love it. I've done so well as well. One time, I almost got 2 out of 6, just one time. It's really good.
Wait, now, George, keg rolling sounds kind of dangerous to me. I'm sure they
had high school a couple times.
Yeah, we got keg rolling, some other ones, and musical chairs. Musical chairs is infinitely more dangerous than keg rolling. Like, infinitely more dangerous. I can't believe we didn't have like 4 or 5 injuries with the musical chairs. Keg rolling was easy, was no problem. Musical chairs, they get vicious.
I love it. Seminar Skip joining us, and Skipper, we got a couple days tomorrow, 10 days Saturday, or excuse me, 10 races on Saturday, 9 on Sunday. Then, of course, the following weekend is closing weekend at Santa Anita, so a lot going on here, my friend.
Yeah, buddy. The meet's winding down. The Breeders' Cup is a couple weeks away, and it's a great time. The weather's been great. It's been cooling down nice, and I tell you what, this weekend's going to be beautiful. A little Santa Ana breeze or a little breeze so we can see those San Gabriel Mountains, and it's a good time. We need to make some Breeders' Cup money, though.
All right, let's get it started. We're going to concentrate, as Gino said, on the late pick 5 here. So, Skip, I'm going to go right back to you. We start in race 6 furlong, starter optional claimer.
Real quick, can I ask a question on this race? That's got to be a typo on the morning line on the outside, right?
Oh, yeah.
What do you guys have on that, right? That's not 8-1. That's probably 8-5. Right?
I have 8-1.
Because that's got to be 8-5, right? If you're looking at the race and just thinking about it, that horse was favored on the dirt 2 starts back against these same horses and won. Why would they be 8-1? To me, I just thought that must be a typo when I was looking at it.
Well, let's start with you then, Gino. I'm assuming that would be your top pick there in race 6.
Well, just looking at the horse who won at this level at Los Al in the last 2 races on the dirt, because that was just the first thing I noticed. And sometimes that happens, right? Instead of an 8-1, you put an 8-5 or something like that. Because I wouldn't be shocked if it was supposed to be AP again, 8-5, and Saul Elliott 9-5, and those were the 2, like that, the 2 horses that were supposed to be head and shoulders above the rest. I do think you want to use AP again because you just tossed the turf race, right? And then all of a sudden this horse looks really nice. The concern I would have is that there is some other speed in here. So I wouldn't want to single any of the lone speed horses, a horse like AP again. I do definitely want to use the 5 Stay for the Boom. I think this horse fits pretty well in this group. Just look at the form overall. The debut at Ellis Park came from off the pace a little bit, and then they got ambitious off of that, and they took a shot against Hey Nene, who's going to be a top contender in the Breeders' Cup. That was in a graded stakes race. That was on the turf going long. Back to a dirt sprint. It was a pretty good effort. Good start. This horse was outside, got caught a little bit wide, dropped back, then came on again, but was really wide the whole way around. It was about 5 wide at one point, then like 3 deep. So I'll use one horse that'll be on the lead, one coming from off the pace. I just thought from a talking point that that line was either going to be off or that horse is not going to be 8-1.
Yeah. I'm with you. I'm 5-7 in here. Good friend of mine owns the 5, so I'm a little biased here. Ryan Ritt, Chicago boy. so he will not be here. I will go represent him in the paddock before the race. So, Skipper, what are your thoughts here? And then who's your guest there, Skip?
I got my little nephew here, Caleb, and he was helping me handicap. He didn't think I was picking many winners the last few weeks, and he was right. So he's going to help me out. But
What's up,
the
Caleb?
6th race, I like the 5 the best. For all the reasons Gino was saying, I was going to go 3 deep in here. I was going to go 4, 5, and then the 7. And Gino, like you said, I thought that was a crazy morning line on the 7. I said, how is this horse 8-1? But I'm going to go 3 deep in here. I love a horse in the next race.
Okay, so everybody's kind of. I was either 5-7 or 1-4-5-7. I'm not sure how to start that. And George, we all kind of think 8-1. We'll never see that on the horse drawn outside. What do the sheets say?
Well, I mean, if you could throw away the last race of the 1, which, I'm going to throw it away because everybody can have a bad day. To me, the 1's the most probable winner. I think there's a lot of speed in this race, and I think he's got tactical speed. He's got the capability, I think, of sitting off. I think he's going to be better than 9-5, or, he's not going to go too much lower, because a lot of people see that he came in 8th last time, and there's so many people who just don't understand. They go, oh, he came in 8th. I'm not betting him with your money. I've had so many people say that to me, and he showed speed, pop and stop. I have no problem with that. They thought enough of him. Doug O'Neill did to run him in a couple of stakes races. One at Churchill Downs. They shipped him to Churchill Downs. I think Saul Elliott's the most probable winner of the race. I think the 5, Stay for the Boom, can also sit a good trip behind his speed. And so those are going to be 2 that I'm going to be using. And I think the 7 is going to be 8-1.
Well, from a pace standpoint, obviously the 1 sent the last time. It's very interesting because the 1 and the 7 both have speed. The 1 draws the rail. They both drop, and they're both trained by Doug O'Neill. So one's going and one's not. They're not going to do it against each other.
Yep.
So I guess it'll depend on the break or the instructions beforehand. We shall see. But all right, Skipper, let's go to you. Leg number 2. You have a horse you love. This would be a mile on the turf, maiden 50s, and I'm assuming this is going to be your single in the late pick 5.
This is going to be my single, and I love this horse. I love the replay. I love the way it's working. It's number 3, Both Sides of Bad.
Wow.
This horse is bred for turf and to go long. So the first time out at Meadowlands back in 22, off slowly, steady, something would have missed. They brought it back in June of 2025 this year. On the dirt, made a move. Next time it came flying late, got beat by a horse that came back to win. But the race that I love was the Del Mar race. Now, the 8 Sweet Odyssey, the favorite, comes out of the same race and had trouble and was pulling hard. But I tell you what, Both Sides of Bad was sitting right behind Sweet Odyssey. Sweet Odyssey turned for home, went to the rail, had all the open room. Both Sides of Bad swung out wide, didn't switch leads until late, but once it switched leads, it took off. I love the way that he galloped out, and I tell you what, he came back and he worked really good on the 13th of September, the 27th of September, and the October 4th work I thought was a great work. Now, it's weird because usually when I see him ask a horse or go to the stick and a work, I usually don't like it. But I think what they're trying to teach this horse to do is switch leads quick, and they just gave it one little chirp, and it just went right by its workmate, and then they just kind of held up on the horse. I love the way that this horse is training. I love Hector Berrios. Both Sides of Bad is my single. I love this horse tomorrow.
Well, clearly Mullins and Hector Berrios have had a lot of success together. And by the wow, I don't think George is going to be singling this horse as well. What are your thoughts here, Georgie?
This one ran at Energy Downs in Gillette, Wyoming.
I was going to ask him if they knew what that EDR was. That's Energy Downs Racing.
I'm not betting anybody from Energy Downs. I'll tell you that right now.
George, I feel like you and I should be on the staff at Energy Downs.
Yeah, no kidding.
We would be executives there, Yeah.
We can run that place, man. Come on. That one, He's going to win without my money, that Energy Downs horse. I love Lorenzo Bernini. Lorenzo Bernini is who I like the best in this race. The biggest drop in the game, I've heard it for the last, 500 years, is maiden special weight to maiden claiming. And I like it when they give him more than one chance. So, I don't like one maiden special weight straight to maiden claiming, but they gave this one 3 chances at maiden special weight. Ran the best thoroughgraph numbers in the race and against much better company. Gets the ultimate equipment changed. They add blinkers. They're changing everything up. Rispoli knows this one. Rispoli on the grass is stellar. Lorenzo Bernini is going to be my top pick in that race, and I even think Sweet Odyssey I like second best, but Lorenzo Bernini for me is the one, and I'm going to skip the Energy Downs horse.
All right, I'm a mix of both of you. I'm 3, 4, 8 in here. Gino, anyone to add in race 7?
George, I know you already knew this because you know everything, but they say about Lorenzo Bernini, he what Shakespeare was to drama, Bernini may be to sculpture. He was a very famous Italian sculptor. If you look at Lorenzo Bernini too, and if you go through all the individual things they're doing with this horse, a friend of mine, I mention him all the time, the Sniper, he calls it the makeover package, right? They're dropping this horse in class. The blinkers are coming on. First time gelding, moving surfaces. They're doing a lot of things to try to get this horse into the winner's circle. George talked about the drop too. I agree. I like the fact that they don't drop immediately and then they don't drop all the way to the bottom, right? You go to 50. Right. You don't go all the way to 20. You stop in the middle where you still show that you like this horse a little bit. So Lorenzo Bernini was on the grass once. That was a pretty good effort, that 4th place finish. It really wasn't bad. It was against straight maidens. This horse was inside, was 3rd, sitting behind the leader, angled off the rail, and was just kind of all in early, chasing the lone speed winner. Broski won loose on the lead that day. This horse actually took a shot at him, tried to come up and fire at him. 3 winning turf siblings. One of them named Arklow. Grade 1 winner, earned $3 million. That was the horse who was awesome at Kentucky Downs and won some of the big races over there, won some really big races through the years. Another grade 2 winner, Murad, grade 2 winner on the turf. This horse has great turf pedigree. And then all those little things, I think Lorenzo Bernini fits really well. I think Skip's horse makes a lot of sense. And yeah, the 8 Sweet Odyssey is the other one. They're all pretty logical for me, 3, 4, and 8.
Don't bring up pedigree again from last week's show. You're going to get George riled up again.
Yeah, I think his horse might still be running though, right?
He ran 4th. He ran okay.
No, he did. He ran fine.
And rumor has it that Lorenzo Bernini had got his start at Energy Downs. No.
This is one of his sculptures from Energy Downs.
Look at that. Worlds colliding right there.
I love it. All right, let's move on to race 8. I think we were all in agreement, kind of a 3, 4, 8 hodgepodge there in race 7. Georgie, race 8, 6 furlongs. We're going to maiden 20s here, maiden claimers. A couple of droppers here that we talked about just a second ago. What are your thoughts here? Is Ride Elbow Ranch 9 to 5? You're a numbers guy. What do the numbers say on that horse?
Yeah, I mean, he comes in with the best last race number, but so does Tiger Fire. Is really good, and I like the work on Tiger Fire after that last race. Again, it's a significant drop in class from they tried maiden special weight, dropped him to maiden claiming, still didn't do good, but he was bumped, he was checked, he had all kinds of issues. Brian doesn't take any chances. He goes with Rispoli. So I'm going to be. I mean, I'm pretty chalky today for whatever reason, but I like the 6 and the 9. As 2 must-use.
2 must-use there. Gino, anyone to add here in the 8th?
Yeah, I'll give you the 3 as well. I think the other 2 are super logical, but look at Moonlit Courage. So debuts on the turf against Better, and in that race is behind a filly named Favor to You. It's a pretty nice filly. We talked about her when we previewed one of the races at Santa Anita when she was coming down the hill opening weekend a couple weeks ago. She finished 4th in that John C. Harris. She's a nice 3-year-old filly for D'Amato. So following that, look at the dirt race on May the 10th. Actually was not bad. This horse actually was on the lead. And then a horse on the outside ends up running off and it just sort of changed the complexion of this race. This one horse backed up a little bit, was kind of sitting about 4 lengths behind, and then loomed up to challenge, was right in contention, and then just couldn't finish with horses that I think are a little bit better, because the winner of that race actually came right back to win a first level allowance race at Los Alamitos. Then you have a couple months off, shows back up on August 31st at Del Mar. That was on the turf against a little bit better. And in that race, there were actually 3 next out winners there. So all these races that she's coming out of are pretty live, and she's been facing a lot better horses. Her best race was sprinting on the dirt. She's going to get back to sprinting on the dirt again right here at the low level. And if they go quick early, she can sit off and pass horses a little bit. I think Moonlit Courage is well meant in this spot.
Skipper, anyone to add that we've kind of talked 3, 6, 9 thus far?
Yeah, I'm going to add 2 other horses. I'm going to go 5 deep in here. The other ones I'm going to use the 5 Royal Dusty. This horse drops down that all-important drop. This is a big drop for Mike Pipey. I love when they go turf to dirt, route to sprint. This horse does it. And the other one is going to be the 7. Same deal. Drops from maiden 50 to maiden 20 for Michael McCarthy, who's having a great meet. Turf to dirt, route to sprint. I'm going to go 3, 5, 6, 7, and 9 in here.
I am the exact 5 as you, Skip, so I have nothing to add on that. I thought this was a tricky race. I'm going to use as many as I can. All right, Gino, let's go to race 9. 1 mile, the Lure, restricted on the grass. What are your thoughts here? A very interesting race, field of 7. And they got some droppers here coming out of some graded stakes races. What are your thoughts here?
Because this entire field is one for the year so far, right? It's that kind of a race. It's a restricted race to horses who haven't been winning graded stakes races or stakes races as of late. But a lot of these horses just have had either physical issues or they've had some really, really big gaps between their wins. Initially, I'm like handicapping the race and I'm like, there's no way I'm going to pick Endlessly. And then I end up picking Endlessly, right? You kind of come back to Endlessly, who probably has the best resume and could get a setup. Like St. Anthony, who's dropping, is 0 for 6 at Santa Anita, has never even hit the board. And you're looking at some of the recent form. So this horse was 125 to 1 last time out and is the morning line favorite in this race. Just to give you an idea of what a strange race it is. Endlessly will be on the ticket for me because I do just think overall this is probably the classiest horse. Like if they all were to show up with their best efforts, I think Endlessly might win this race. And for the very same reason, I want to use Goliad because I do think Goliad just is one of those runoff speed types. If a lot of these horses are at the point in their career where they don't want to pass anymore, at least I got the horse who's going to be 3 lengths in front of them. I'll probably be pretty formful with Endlessly, Goliad. And Nesso's Last Hurrah didn't run bad last time out. I am a little bit concerned about the shape of the race because Goliad's pretty quick and Sumter's pretty quick. So I don't know if it sets up all that well, but the outside horse is kind of on the upswing, and a lot of these other horses are kind of on the downswing. So I think I do want to use Nesso's as well. I'll be pretty formful in here, but not an easy race. I mean, you can make cases against everyone. I wanted to make a case for Watsonville, but look at Watsonville has only 4 total races in the last 2 years. Yep. Doesn't really seem like the same horse since back in 2023.
Yeah. And Glatt's only, he's hit the board a lot, but 2 wins in 34 starts this meet. He's been a little cold on the win end. Skipper, what are your thoughts here?
I can't believe St. Anthony is a favorite, like Gino was saying, but it is interesting that JJ Hernandez jumps aboard.
Well, Skip, look at your point. Look at the riders recently. Gaffalione,
right.
Rispoli, Hernandez, Rispoli. He's been getting even at huge prices, this horse has been getting very good riders, almost leading riders all over.
Right. So I got to use the one just for that. I know I usually, when I see 0 for 6 at a certain turf course, I just think they don't like it, but I got to use it just because JJ jumps aboard inside. Watsonville I'm going to use. I like the work on the 11th, and I know what Gina was saying with doesn't have many races. It's got 4 races in 2 years. It does have a win over the track. I did like the way it worked on the 11th. Endlessly, this horse used to be so good, and I think this horse could round back into form. I don't think it wants to go 1 mile and 3/8. I think it's going to get a great trip in here, a great setup. I see Goliad going. I see Nesso's Last Hurrah going. I got to use Endlessly. It's been working. It's been getting outworked in the mornings, but those are dirt works. This horse is not a dirt horse, even though it ran in the Kentucky Derby. This horse wants grass. It gets it today. And, a mile's his best distance. 3 of his 5 wins have been in a mile. So I'm going to use the 4. I'm going to use Sumter too. This horse with the blinkers off, Mike Smith, I don't know if he had a choice between the 5 and the 6. He rode them both. Karushi Kimura rode the 5 way back when, and he rode the 6. I think Mike Smith probably chose a 6. I love the way that this horse is working. That October 8th work was really, really good. Ears were up. This horse was just gliding along. I know it was 114 and, flat, but not real fast, but I love the way that this horse was doing it. I think the blinkers off are going to be great for this horse. And then the last one, I'm going to use Nesso's Last Hurrah because this horse is in form. It's a sharpest horse, and here we go. We got Peter Eurton and Hector Berrios aboard. So I'm going to go 5 deep in here, but my top play is probably Sumter. I really like the way that this horse is working.
Georgie?
Chappie, you'll be happy to know that Otani just tattooed one to start the Dodger game just a second ago. So nice. I knew you'd love that. And actually, it looks like the first 3 Dodgers all got hits right now to start for them. So,
wow. Yep. They are on a roll. That is for sure. The starting pitching has been unbelievable. That's for sure. Georgie, what are your thoughts here?
I think this is the epitome of a race where it's absolutely wide open. You could use them all. I mean, I agree with all you guys, but my top pick is going to be Goliad. It's Goliad's my top pick. You're getting a good price, a decent price on a runner who's a little long in the tooth, no question about it. But man, that race last time, it was a grade 3, but it was at Kentucky Downs. The competition over there was just amazing. I mean, just to give you an idea, the one was 125-1 in the same race that Goliad was in at 11-1, and Goliad attracted Pratt. That's no small detail. He's got tons of speed. He's got the best overall. There was a day when he would crush this field.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to use a lot in one ticket. I'm going to single him in another. And Goliad is famous, Goliad, Texas, for a massacre they had. So I might get massacred in the pick 5 where I single him, but I'm going with Goliad.
I'm going to probably use Goliad as well. The only thing that scares me is Kentucky Downs is such a horse for course more than any place probably. And Goliad loves Kentucky Downs and ran horrible last time.
George was hitting it too. Like once you start to see, and I'm using him because there's just a chance, but once you see the horses get to like 8 and then they string maybe 3 or 4 races together that aren't that great, you start to wonder if they're maybe losing a little bit of the spunk, right? Because we're all getting a little bit older. We know what that feels like. We certainly do.
Yeah.
But half of Goliad's victories were at Santa Anita. Half of his victories.
No,
so he loves Santa Anita.
Yep.
But he loved Kentucky Downs too and threw in a clunker the last time.
You made a great point too, George. How weird. He was 11-1 in that race, and St. Anthony was 125-1. And then in this race on the morning line, they're like 5-2 and 4-1 flip-flopped.
Yeah.
That is strange.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same guy who did the odds for AP again. Same guy.
If St. Anthony wins, I lose. I'm not using St. Anthony whatsoever. And my top pick would actually be Nesso's Last Hurrah because I think that, like you guys said, like Santa Anita, likes the mile. This is the one that's the up-and-comer. I think it gets some other horses that are kind of long in the tooth. And I think with Hector Berrios, Eurton's been on fire. And I think Hector's so good at getting those horses to relax. I think he relaxes and gets first run on the rest of these horses.
And being outside is super helpful for that, right? Letting the horses inside of you go and then trying to sit off third if you want to.
Right. Yeah. So interesting race. All right. We move to race 10. Skipper, we're going back to you. We are all 4 for 4. I don't think that's possible, but we're going to act like we are for the show.
Maybe we get a dead heat in a race where we had a single and another. So maybe we could be, right?
There you go. 6 furlongs, allowance optional claimer. Calbred's going here to close it out. Skipper, what are your thoughts?
This race is weird. You got a couple first-time winners. You got the outside two horses, 33, 8 starts, 10 wins. I'm using those two for sure. Those are win machines, and you know, that goes without saying. Once they win like that, you got to use horses like that. I'm also going to use the 6, Stay in the Line. This horse got claimed for 25. Andy Mathis ran it at Los Al, jumped it up for an optional 40. Now he gets more realistic, drops it back down to the level that it won at, a little bit lower. This is the right place for this horse. The 6, Stay in the Line, is going to be on my ticket. Like saying I needed 2 starts or 2 wins out of 4 starts. The other one I'm going to use is the 5, Tricky Trickster. This horse, in case there is speed up front where they start banging heads, Tricky Trickster is going to come running. That last race was good. Came flying late with Anton Georgi. It had a little trouble, and I like the way that it finished. It got second beaten a half length, won the start before that. So Bob Hess claimed it. Rispoli's on it, 12-1. I got to use it. The one I don't know if I'm going to use or not is Crystal Clean. I want to use it because of Barrios, but I don't know. That's the only other horse that I might use. But 5, 6, 10, and 11 are on the ticket for sure.
5, 6, 10, and 11. Georgie, what are your thoughts here?
So I'm going with the 2 outside runners in my pick 5s. It's impossible to ignore Lady Gregory's last race. Lady Gregory, that was a monster number that she ran, and she runs a good one like that every now and then. Not very consistent, but every now and then just throws a race that you go, forget about it. And then Steve Knapp, he's on fire. He won again. I mean, he's winning a lot of races. And first off the claim, he's winning like 20%. I always liked Steve Knapp and Fresu. They're both doing great. I don't like the fact that Barrios sticks with the 2. Obviously, the 2 is one of the ones that has to be used for sure. But the 11, I love Isidro Tamayo. I think he's always been one of my favorites to bet on up north. And this runner consistently comes with it. Like, she comes her last 5 races, she's been first twice, a second, a couple of third, winning a couple of $50,000 stakes races. She's the goods, and she's 8-1. And I think Brooks's gal, you got to use that in your exotic.
I think George needs to head over to Energy Downs and get a little plug in.
No.
You lost all your energy downs there, Georgie.
You didn't hear anything I said?
You froze for a second
there about halfway through, but we got most of it. You like the 11 for sure.
Right.
We know that part. Yeah.
10 and 11. 10 and 11.
The outside 2 for Georgie. What are your thoughts here, Gino?
So the thing that was interesting when I was looking at Lady Gregory, because I know at first glance you look at her, she's a 12-time winner, super classy, looks really good, especially when you just sort of glance at dirt, synthetic, turf. She's won on all of them, right? She's actually lost her last 7 consecutive dirt races. If you go back and look through. So every time she's been on the dirt recently, she's lost. And a lot of them are at really, really short prices. So if you're thinking about her as like a single or a standout or something, I'm not saying she can't win, but go through her dirt races recently. There's a lot of times where she's short prices and she's not running the same type of speed figures like George was talking about. The big races, those generally come on grass when she fires those big numbers. So I don't know if she's quite as good or as dominant on the dirt, so that made me think this field might be a little bit more competitive and wide open. I do like to Stay in Line a little bit, the 6. You just go through this horse's form and it all makes sense. Look at her, and kind of the opposite of what I was just talking about with Lady Gregory. Look at her dirt form. She's awesome on the dirt. She's won 4 of her 8. She's finished second the other 2. And then the 2 times she didn't, like legitimate excuses. One of them was before a 14.5-month layoff. So something goes wrong there, right? Back in February 2024 when she finishes 6th. But you've already seen her win at this level before off the long layoff in April. She won at this level off of a 14-month layoff going 6.5 furlongs when she was 16-1. And then Kind of strange following that, she went turf in her next 2 starts, right? And so all of a sudden her form's a little bit muddied up. She gets back to the dirt. She beats 25 claimers, and then she's facing better last time out. She's facing First Level Allowance Company over at Los Alamitos. Lovin' on the Run is a pretty sharp horse right now. She gets to drop back in class here. I think she fits really, really well with this group. So I like the 6 quite a bit. We mentioned all the other logical horses, but I might play one ticket where I maybe single the 6 on the back end. Crystal Clean, Thirsty Tracker, Lady Gregory. They would be the other ones for me if I'm playing more.
And I tell you what, it depends how the track's playing too, but there's a chance there is not that much speed in this race.
No.
There's a chance that Stay in Line sneaks away on the front end if you really take a good look at this race.
I think she's the quickest. It's sometimes it comes down to intent, right? Like if the 2 Crystal Clean's kind of down there, or maybe Thirsty Tracker and Coral Gable Skyland, like you've seen them show a little bit of speed before. But if I had to bet on one horse getting to the front, I'm hoping it's the 6, Stay in Line. It would be the one. That's the one I think.
Yeah. Skipper, were you going to say something about that?
Yeah. And, I agree. I mean, that's my top play in the race. But another thing I love, this horse is tactical. I mean, it's got speed, but it could sit and win too. It could pass horses.
She beat Lady Gregory
and like
too
Gino said,
on the
when
square.
it came off the layoff. Right. That's what I was going to mention. That race you were talking about back in April, who'd she beat? She beat Lady Gregory. So Stay in Line's my top pick, and I'm going to use the other 3.
Yeah, my top pick is Crystal Clean. I think Crystal Clean has a lot of upside after only 2 races, and I think can go to the lead or sit just off. But I'm kind of with you guys on the rest of them. I was kind of 2, 6, 10, 11. Skip's throwing in the 5 at a price I like. So, well, it looks like an interesting card tomorrow. And again, on Sunday, Gino, wrap it up with all the things we have going on. A lot happening here at the Great Race Place.
Yeah, you also want to take a look at the Breeders' Cup packages that we have at drf.com, because when Wednesday comes and the pre-entries come out, then you can get those right away and you can start your handicapping. And if you purchase them early right now, you save a bunch of money. I think you save like $38 if you want to purchase, and they have the clocker reports and betting strategies, whatever you want in those different packages. We'll have a ton of help for you on the YouTube channel there on DRF2 if you need. And then over at Santa Anita tomorrow, free contest, pick'em.santanita.com. Every Saturday, Sunday. If you're a football fan and you're kicking back watching some college football, these are free. You answer the 12 prop questions, you could win $500. I think George is going to be firing away in the big express bet tournaments, the qualifiers tomorrow. They got tournaments in Santa Anita. They got tournaments at Keeneland. And I'm going to be the seminar guest for Tom Quigley tomorrow. So I'll be out there previewing the entire card before they start. So if you didn't get enough of me right now, you get more of me tomorrow previewing the full card.
And we'll see Georgie all weekend in the Lederhosen, right, Georgie?
Yes, yeah. All weekend long Lederhosen. And I'll also be signing people up tomorrow for that $1,000 BC feeder. So that's a fun contest too.
All right. Well, look forward to the weekend, and we will close it out next weekend, same time, same channel. So good luck, everybody. Thanks, guys. And we will talk to you again next week. Thanks.
Good luck.